Rain drifted softly over the outskirts of the city as ACP Pradyuman stepped out of the SUV, his eyes fixed on the lonely house perched at the edge of the forest. The structure looked like it had once belonged to a happy family, flower pots on the porch, wind chimes hanging by the window, but now everything felt abandoned, frozen, as if time itself refused to touch it. He held the sealed envelope they had received that evening, an anonymous tip, a child's bracelet, and a single line written in jagged handwriting, "The mother is not what she seems." Abhijit scanned the perimeter with a cold, practiced eye. "Sir, someone has been here recently." "Footprints. Fresh." Daya nodded, sensing the same strange tension thick in the air. Even the silence felt heavy, like the house was holding its breath. ACP pushed the front door gently. It creaked open on its own, revealing a hallway that smelled faintly of burnt candles and old dust. A small music box sat on a table, still playing a slow, broken melody, its notes slightly out of tune. To the right, a living room glowed with warm candlelight, yet no matches or lighters were visible anywhere. The toys scattered around the floor were arranged in perfect symmetry, small wooden blocks spelling out names that seemed wrong, mismatched, as though the children they belonged to were never meant to exist together. Abhijit crouched beside a doll. "Sir, this house, it's staged. Like someone is trying too hard to show us a normal family." Daya quietly opened a cupboard, revealing neatly folded children's clothes, all the same size, all never worn. The air felt colder suddenly. ACP's gaze drifted to a large family portrait hanging above the fireplace. The mother smiled beautifully, almost angelically, her arms around two children whose faces were blurred, not by time, but smeared intentionally. Her eyes in the painting were darker, like someone had painted over them later, transforming warmth into something hollow and chilling. A faint whisper of movement caught Abhijit's attention. He turned sharply, hand on his gun, but there was nothing, just shadows lying strangely against the walls. Then, a soft click echoed through the hallway. Daya's voice rose slightly. "Sir, behind this shelf." Something moved. They approached cautiously. Daya pressed his palm against the old wooden panel, and it swung open with eerie smoothness. A draft of cold air rushed out, carrying with it the faintest echo of a lullaby. Not mechanical. Not from a device. Someone was singing, somewhere deep inside the hidden passage. Flashlights cut through the darkness as they descended narrow stairs that seemed older than the rest of the house. Each step groaned, as if complaining about their intrusion. The air thickened with an unsettling mixture of humidity and sadness. The lullaby grew clearer, a woman's voice humming slowly, lovingly, disturbingly. Then it stopped. The silence that followed felt like a trap slamming shut. Abhijit raised his light toward a far corner, and froze. A silhouette stood there, just at the edge of the beam. Still. Watching. Its outline unmistakably human, yet unmoving like a statue carved from shadows. When the light swept across again, the figure was gone. And the house finally exhaled. The basement door groaned open as if resisting the world above, and the CID team stepped into a darkness that seemed to swallow their flashlights whole. The air was dense, humid, and strangely scented with lavender, too gentle for a place that felt so wrong. Daya moved ahead carefully, testing each old wooden step. Abhijit followed close, eyes scanning every corner, every shadow, every whisper of movement. At the bottom, the light revealed a room lined with shelves. But instead of tools, boxes, or stored belongings, the shelves were filled, wall to wall, with diaries. Hundreds of them. Leather-bound, hand-stitched, their spines marked only with dates. No names. No titles. Just year after year of someone's written madness. Abhijit pulled one off the shelf. It fell open easily, as though it wanted to be read. Inside, every line began with the same word. Aarav. A name they knew well. A brilliant profiler who had once consulted with CID on complex psychological cases, a man gifted with understanding minds twisted by trauma, obsession, and fear. And yet, he had vanished years ago without a trace. Many believed he had been killed by a suspect he pursued. But now his name lived here, written in ink that grew more frantic with each page. Daya picked up another diary. Sir, every book is written to him. Every single one. ACP Pradyuman read silently, his jaw tightening. The entries were confessions woven with devotion, almost romantic, but suffocating in their intensity. The mother who lived in this house, whoever she truly was, had once loved Aarav. Deeply. Terribly. She called him her guide, her protector, her destiny. But somewhere along the years, her affection had calcified into obsession. Abhijit flipped to the final page of the diary he held. The handwriting trembled, letters jagged like claws. Aarav said love means protecting. So I protected him. From the world, from those who might take him away, even from himself. A chill crawled through the room. Before anyone could speak, a faint metallic clink echoed from the far end of the basement. They all turned sharply. Another hidden door, smaller, locked with a heavy iron latch, stood half-concealed behind a hanging curtain. Daya approached and pressed his ear against it. Silence. Then, another sound. A breath. Weak. Human. He tore the latch open. The door swung inward. Inside, hunched against the wall, sat a man with unshaven cheeks, tired eyes, and a face they had once seen smiling confidently in briefing rooms. Aarav. Alive. Fragile, but alive. He lifted his head slowly, blinking at the sudden light as though it burned. When he recognized them, his expression broke somewhere between relief and terror. She made it sound beautiful, he whispered. She said this was love. She said if I left her, the world would suffer. Abhijit knelt beside him. Aarav, why didn't you escape? Aarav's voice shook. Because I wasn't locked in at first. I stayed, willingly. I thought I could help her. Heal her. His eyes darkened. But I didn't realize she didn't want to be healed. She wanted to keep me. Forever. The lullaby they heard upstairs suddenly drifted through the basement again, soft, haunting, close. Aarav's breath caught. She knows you're here. Lightning cracked across the sky as the CID team guided Aarav up the basement steps, each creak of the wood sounding louder than the last. The house trembled slightly, as if aware that its darkest secret had finally been uncovered. When they reached the ground floor, the storm wind pushed through a half-open window, scattering the candles and sending shadows dancing across the walls. Then she appeared. The mother stepped out from the corridor with quiet, graceful footsteps, the hem of her pale dress brushing the floor. Her expression was serene, almost loving, but her eyes gleamed with a depth of madness shaped over years of obsession. She tilted her head gently as she observed Aarav leaning on Abhijit for support. You brought him outside, she murmured, her voice soft but sharp enough to cut through the room. He doesn't belong out there. He belongs with me. ACP Pradyuman moved forward, his voice steady. Whatever you think this is, it ends today. Obsession is not love. She smiled with heartbreaking tenderness. Fear and love. ACP, they are twins. One grows when the other dies. I made sure fear died between us. Her hand slipped into her pocket. Abhijit stiffened, eyes narrowing. Ma'am, take your hand out slowly. But she ignored him, taking a single step closer to Aarav. The candlelight flickered across her face, illuminating a strange fragility beneath her madness. Her voice trembled with a mix of fury and affection. They never understood you like I did, she whispered to Aarav. They only saw your strength. I saw your pain. I held it. I carried it. I became everything you needed. Aarav swallowed hard, shaking his head. You imprisoned me. You isolated me. You said the world would break me, but it was you who did. Her smile faltered, just for a moment, and something inside her cracked visibly. It wasn't prison, she said, her voice trembling. It was protection. I kept you safe. I kept everyone else safe from you. Before anyone could respond, she pulled her hand from her pocket, holding a small, rectangular remote device. Her thumb hovered over the button. No one knew exactly what it controlled, but her confidence made the danger clear. Daya instantly stepped forward. Stop. Put it down. She did not. Instead, she looked directly at Aarav, her eyes glistening with tears that felt more like weapons than emotions. If you walk away from me now, she whispered, this house won't be the only thing that collapses. The room went silent. Rain pounded against the windows. Thunder rolled like a warning. The wind moaned through the broken window frames, carrying with it the same lullaby they had heard in the basement, now twisted into something sorrowful and desperate. Aarav stepped forward, surprising everyone. His voice was barely audible, but it held more weight than any command. Please, don't do this. Her hand trembled. For the first time, she looked uncertain, caught between the love she believed in and the crime she had already committed. A crack of thunder shook the house again. Then her eyes hardened. She pressed the button. And everything went dark.